Hey friend, welcome and welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. Listen, if this is your first time here, then welcome. I give lighthearted reviews and recaps of my favorite TV shows and movies. So if this is something that interests you, go ahead and click that like button for your girl. Hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you will be alerted each and every time I upload a new video. Okay, y'all, let's go ahead and get into it. This is The Shy, Season 7, Episode 8. This one is called A Bet is a Bet. And y'all, this episode stressed me out. It really, really did. I finished the episode last night and I had to go outside and sit down for a minute. I'm so upset at the characters and the way that the show is going. I understand what they're trying to do. They brought Reg back, but it's just a lot of stuff that's going on the Shy right now. And for them to get picked up for another season, I have questions, y'all. So let's just go ahead and get into it. Let's talk about it. All right, y'all. Like I said, this episode stressed me out a little bit. And I don't want to do this whole review just being mad the whole way through and just not having anything positive to say. But this episode did upset me. A lot of stuff that went on, I just have questions about. It wasn't my favorite episode. So let's just go ahead and get into it. So let's talk about Darnell and Jada. So we see Darnell at the beginning of the episode, and he's taking Damien to a Gamblers Anonymous meeting because, listen, enough is enough. You done stole money from your brother. You're just doing way too much. You got kicked out of your mom's house. Now you're staying with Emmit and Keisha. Like, you really need to get yourself together, young man. So Darnell has decided to take him to the Gamblers Anonymous meeting, and you know Damien can notice that something's going on with Darnell. He just seems a little sad, and we all know why. It's because of what's going on with Jada. And so he asks him about it, but he's like, "Ain't nothing going on. Come on, let's go." So he goes inside with Damien because he's like, "I can't trust you. I know you just need, parental supervision right now at your big age. So let's go in here and let's get this meeting going." So Damien's in there with the meeting. He's not taking it seriously. He's like making eyes at the young lady that's sitting across from him. And, later on, they end up hooking up in a bathroom. That was a very weird scene. But, we do see our first cameo, which is Karuchi. Hey, girl. Anyway, so while Darnell is waiting for him to come out of his meeting, he's walking up the hallway and he sees that there's another support meeting that's going on. And this is for people that are grieving the loss of their loved one. So he decides to go in and take a seat to listen what they have to talk about. And we see our girl, second cameo, Wendy Raquel Robinson. She's in there and she's leading the support group meeting, and she's talking about her husband and how her husband was her everything and how she lost him, and that was that on that. After the meeting, I think she goes up, they start talking, she goes up to him, or he may go up to her. I was watching, but but anyway, they started talking. And she at first, I guess, was like, "Well, I hope you're not in here, trying to pick up women." I think Darnell had told her that his wife wasn't gone yet, but then he explains that, she is dying and she does not have a whole lot of time. So anyway, I'm not sure if Darnell is going to continue to go to the meetings. It kind of seems like maybe he will. And I don't know if this is going to be some kind of trauma bonding where Jada dies and then, they pick up together and start dating. I don't want to see it. I love Wendy Raquel Robinson, but no, I think I'd rather have Jada. We've had Jada since the beginning of time, and to kill her off just to bring in Wendy Raquel Robinson, I'm not sure what's going on there. But anyway, after the meeting, they get back in the car, and that's when Darnell breaks down because Damien's like, "Hey, why were you in that meeting? What's going on?" And he was like, "Jada's dying and she's not getting better." And then he just broke down in the car. That really just broke my heart. So, you know, prayers up to Darnell and Jada. I know it's hard. I've never been through this situation. I know that he was talking to Jada in this episode and trying to, encourage her to fight. And it's not over until God says it's over. He came back from the meeting trying to encourage her to fight again. And Jada ain't trying to hear it. She's like, "Listen, I'm tired. Okay. I don't want to spend the remaining of my time trying to fight with chemo and radiation. I'd rather just enjoy the time that I have left." And so Darnell's like, "Well, we need to tell no, Jada's like, we need to tell the kids, and he's like, let's just kind of wait. Let's just wait and see, But I think that they should tell Emmett and Keisha like sooner than later. I mean, Darnell done already told Damien, so you might as well just tell everybody now because Damien's gonna spread it full show, and we see later on that he does tell. So anyway, my prayers go out to Jada. Jada seems like she's probably around my age, and I don't know if it's the I'm tired. You got a lot of life, left in you, Jada. You got your grandbaby coming, and another grandbaby coming, and I don't know. I've never been in that situation, and I know it's got to be a tough decision, But just prayers up to Jada and Darnell, the whole family. Okay, y'all. So let's talk about what's going on down to the church. So we know that with all of the stuff that's been going on with Pastor Zeke, seeing Sarah, they noticed that people aren't giving like they used to give. So Pastor Zeke is in his office going over his sermon, and he sees his daughter Kenya. She is back. Remember, at the beginning of the season after Zay got killed, she left and went to Louisiana, I believe it was, to stay with her grandmother. She took the baby. But anyway, they ended up coming back. She said that the grandmother was too strict. And not only is she back, but the grandmother is back as well. And they're staying over at Kenya's mom's house, which is Zeke's ex wife. So we've got Zeke's mom staying over at the mother in law or at the daughter in law's house, ex daughter in law's house, which is kind of a weird dynamic. You really don't see that very often. But anyway, she's back, and pastor's like, hey, if you want to see Papa, he's right down the hallway. So apparently Papa is working there, has his own office. We find out that they did sell the daddy's church, but Papa said that they are still allowed to, I guess, maintain it and run it or whatever, but they did buy it from them. So I guess that helps the mom, helps Papa and them out financially. Anyway, long story short, they end up going to the house for dinner. And when they get there, we see Felicia Rashad. She is everywhere these days, and I'm so happy to see her. She just really looks great, beautiful. Anyway, they're there. They start talking about how black men are choosing white women over black women, and that whole conversation while they're having dinner. And how that's really nothing but trouble. It's always proved to be nothing but trouble throughout, time starting back from Emmett Till, even before Emmett Till. But they're bringing all this up, and at the dinner table we also find out that it was Pastor Zeke's ex wife who cheated on him, not the other way around. So it seems like black women have a little pattern going on here with the good pastor, right? Because we have his wife that he just divorced, who also cheated on him with Jake. And now we find out that the ex wife cheated on him as well. So that may be a reason why he's trying to go another route. Maybe he's trying to, saying, well, maybe a white woman wouldn't do that to me, but I don't know. But that was their conversation. Not sure why this is being brought up now, and I'm really not that interested in the storyline. I really want them to do something with Papa. I want somebody to tell me what are they doing with Papa, because Papa ain't cool with Jake no more. Kevin is gone. I mean, yeah, he's got his podcast, and he was on his little podcast today, just kind of guilt shaming people into giving back to the church, giving money. And I just don't know if this is Papa. You know what I mean? Like, I miss the old Papa. And I get it. Maybe the writers are like, well, we don't want to put Papa in the middle of what's going on with Bakari, and definitely not what's going on with Jake, because we don't want Papa to get in trouble. We don't want him to get, so, but I don't know if they've grown apart or what, but I don't even think that they've had any scenes together yet. If they have, maybe one or two all together, maybe before Gemma and everybody ended up leaving the show. So, and maybe they're trying to grow the boys up. Papa now, he's got a young adult. He's got his job. He's but still, I kind of just miss the fact that they did all have a friend group and they're not. And Papa's just kind of out of place, it seems like. So I want them to get a storyline for Papa real soon. All right, y'all, let's talk about what's going on with Detective Toussaint, because this whole thing has just got me just questioning everything. All right, so we see that she's meeting with Nook, and she's talking to Nook and telling Nook, look, I want to get Reg. I need to get him. I need your help. I got a son and I do anything for my son, and so Detective Toussaint knows that Nook's got a son. So she's trying to, relate to him on that level and kind of break him down on that emotional level. We all know when it comes to our kids, it's just we will do anything for our kids, those. And so she knows that that's the spot to get Nook to kind of listen to her. And anyway, she's saying that, yeah, you know that Reg wants you dead, right? And he's like, yeah, I've been told that. And so she wants him to help take Reg and get Reg and bring Reg in. And my thing is, lady, you're a detective. Reg, he's an animal. He's an animal who we thought was dead, but now you know he's alive. Go get him. All you got to do is just go to his house, ring the doorbell, and say, hey, I want to talk to you about the shooting on Jamal. Bring him in for questioning, and you got him. Like, I don't understand why they think that she needs Nuck to bring Reg in. I don't get it. And you're sitting here talking to Nuck, and I get it. Police, we got dirty cops all the time, and I understand that, but it just doesn't make sense to have Nuck help her bring in Reg. You don't need no help to bring in Reg. Reg is Reg. Just go get him. And please hurry up and go get him before he kills everybody on the show. But that's all I got to say about that. I thought that was really, really weird. Anyway, Nuck's like, yeah, I'm in. I'll help you out. So we all know as soon as he said that, she's gonna be after him too. And good for him because he needs to go as well. He's a monster. But Detective Toussaint, just go to the house and you already know where he lives. Go pick him up. I know that Jamal was shot right in front of his house. You can't go pick him up for that because they never did show what happened to that. How did Jamal even get in the hospital? They never showed that. And speaking of Jamal, we do have a scene with Dom and Jamal where Jamal is back home. I don't know how many weeks has passed since the last episode, but Jamal is home and he's talking to Dom and he's telling Dom about how his scare with death just made him realize that he didn't have anybody to leave, he doesn't have a legacy and he wants to have a kid. But we remember from earlier in the episode when they have a ladies meeting over at Keisha's house that Dom said she didn't want kids. So here we go again. Now you guys rush to get married so that you can lay down with each other. And now you don't know nothing about each other. And now you're realizing that one of you wants kids and one of you don't. So what are y'all gonna do? I guess probably Dom's going to probably have to lay down and have a baby. I mean, who knows? But these are the things, and it's very important to understand that you got to have these talks with people before you decide to want to spend the rest of your lives together. If you don't know anything about each other, now stuff like this comes up, and this is stuff that can break up a marriage. Kids, finances, all that stuff. So I don't know what's going to happen with them too, but we will see. All right, y'all. Can someone please tell me why Damien is hanging out with Reg and Hannibal? I just need to know. I mean, I don't understand why he's hanging out with them. Why can't he hang out with Bakari? Why can't he hang out with Jake? I don't know. And I don't know how old Damien is, but he needs to find some new friends. Anyway, and speaking of that, it was weird because Emmett wanted to hang out with them and he texts back and was like, I'm hanging out with my friends. Honey, those are not your friends, okay? And we're going to find that out. Anyway, they're there and they're talking, they're sitting there, they're smoking, and they're talking about basketball stats. And so seems like Damien's just, he knows them. He can rattle them off like, just like clockwork. So and so had this, that, this, that, this, that. So anyway, Red just like, okay, well, I got a bet for you. And he was like, nah, I'm not betting, like that anymore. I just got out of a meeting. I'm trying to chill out with betting. Yeah, you should because you suck at it. And so anyway, Red just like, nah, man, come on. I bet you 5 racks that you can't get this right. And so Damien being somebody who struggles with gambling, he's like, yep, okay, I'll take it. So he's like, okay, give me the stats of the Michael Jordan flu game. And so he rattles off the stats. However, it's wrong. So there you go. 5 racks. He gotta pay Reg back. And so he's like, all right, man, when do I owe you the money? He's like, how about tomorrow night? And if you don't have my money by tomorrow night, I'm gonna beat the out of you. right? So he gets up and he leaves, and Hannibal's telling him, told him before he even made the bet, don't make the bet. This is the second time that Hannibal has told him not to do it, and he's gone on and done it. So now he ain't got no money. He's got to go out and try to find $5,000 before tomorrow night. Otherwise, Reg is gonna just beat the crap out of him. So first person he goes to is Dom. Dom's like, what? You need what? And she's like, listen, I'll just give you $1,000. I want my money back too. Then he goes to Bakari. He gets a rack from him. And while he's talking to him, spreads Jada's business. Oh, by the way, Jada's dying. She has cancer. What? Who told you to tell her business? So I'm like really done with Damien at this point. He's like, and the only other person that has the kind of money is my stepmama. And I know she's dying and she has cancer. So let me just go over here and ask her for the money. What? Oh my god, this infuriated me. Anyway, he goes over there with his he goes over there and is looking all sad, puppy dog. Oh, I need money and I don't want to disappoint my daddy, you know. And without asking too many questions, Jada just gets up and just gives him $2,000. So now he has $4,000. He's still short. He's short 1,000. He goes back to see Reg to give him the money, and he's short. So what did Reg say he was going to do if he didn't have his money? That's exactly what he did. He beat the shit out of him. And so, yep, there you go, Damien. Go ahead and take that. And see, Reg probably could have did a whole lot more damage, but Hannibal stopped him and it was like, hey man, that's enough. And that Hannibal is like the only person that I know of that, Reg can, that Reg actually listens to. I don't know, but I was glad that Hannibal was there because Damien probably would have gotten seriously injured, which, not saying I want anything like that to happen to Damien. He just needs to go away. I'm tired of seeing Damien. All right, y'all. Let's talk about Vic and Tiff. So we see Vic. He's at the bar, at the cigar bar, and it looks like he's taking something, maybe a bottle of liquor, maybe some cigar. I don't know what it was that he was trying to take. Anyway, Tiffany comes in and kind of catches him, and they kind of laugh about that. And he's like, "Where?" She's like, "Where are you going?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go see my boy BJ, the Chicago kid." And she's like, "Oh my God, okay, I like his music. Who you going with?" Just all up in his business. And he's like, I'm going by myself. I'm just going to go check him out or whatever. And she's like, oh, okay. He's like, well, you didn't ask me if I wanted to go. And he was like, well, I didn't know if you, would want to go with me. So they end up going. So they're there and they're grooving to his music or whatever, and he's standing behind her and, the vibe is there or whatever. He kind of touches her arm and kind of stands behind her. So now they're kind of rocking to the music together. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I guess this is happening. After the show, he takes her back home and she invites him in, and they're standing there kind of in the foyer, and they share a little kiss. And of course, my girl Alicia's at the top of the stairs watching the whole thing go down. And then he leaves and she watches him as he walks away. And I'm just like, okay, Tiff. So the first thing you need to do in the morning is go get your kid, right? Go get him, because you can sit here and go to the concerts and just that and the third. I don't understand why you don't have that baby. In the meantime, over here, we got Keisha who's scratching and surviving, keeping her head above water, and you living your best life. Go get your son. Okay, that would help out Tiffany. Both of y'all are, or Keisha, both of y'all are pregnant, and that's what you need to do. I really blame the whole thing with Emmit this episode on Tiff, because had Tiff not went out, and then next thing you know, Vic's talking to Rashad, and Rashad is like, oh, you got to go tell Emmett if you guys are getting close or not. So that's what he does. He goes over there, has a conversation with Emmett, and then Emmett's in his feelings because he still has feelings for Tiff. And I'm like, oh my God, this is why you haven't married Keisha yet? Because you still got feelings for Tiff? So that whole thing just blew me right there. So he decides to get drunk because he's in his feelings about the fact that Vic and Tiff might be a couple. So that's when we see Damien run in the house all bloodied up because remember Reg beat the crap out of him because he lost the bet and didn't have the money to pay him. And so Emmett with his old uh uh liquid courage goes over there to fight Reg because he put his hands on Damien. Why are you going over there fighting a killer? I don't know. But he went over there, no strap, no nut, and just went over there, bust through the door, and he just started putting them paws on him, just, getting Reg real good. And I'm like, wow, okay, Reg can't fight. That's the thing. He can't fight. So he's got him and he's on top of him and he's beating him. You put your hands on my brother. And nobody tell you no. He's like, yo, man, he owe me money, whatever, whatever. So as he's pounding on him, Reg reaches back and grabs the strap and just pop. You just heard the pop, and you can see in Reg's face when he did it that he was like, "Oh, like nobody wants to shoot Emmett. Emmett is like the sweetest guy ever, but." Hey, he was being attacked. So when you're being attacked and you getting the losing end of the stick, Reg had to do what he had to do, but it's Emmett. It's like, okay, just take the beat down. And, did you not think that you weren't going to pay for what you did to Damien? Yeah. I mean, he's a simp and he's a square, but, you know, I didn't think that Emmett was going to come that hard on him, but he did. Anyway, he's sitting there on the ground with a gunshot wound in his chest, seemingly bleeding out. And that's how the episode went off. So I just don't understand. This episode was very confusing to me, left me in my feels. I don't understand what is going on. There's a whole lot of people on this show that need to get off. Number one, let's go ahead and get Damien up out of here. Let's go ahead and get him gone. Um Number two, Tiff, tired of you, girl. Bye. See ya. You gotta go as well. Nook, you gotta go. I don't know. I know we have to have a villain. I understand that. We got Alicia. She's out here just dry shooting, just shooting people, not even aiming, just shooting. We don't need her either. So I just don't know what direction this show is going in. I do know there's a couple more episodes left, and then they got renewed for a new season. But you're killing off people. You're bringing in all these new cameos. I mean, we got Professor Gardner as well. I forgot this part, but he did meet with the dean about Bakari because Bakari's grades are dropping. So it's like, okay, Bakari, I had such high hopes for you at the beginning of this season, but your grades are dropping. You living with Nuck. You trying to set up Reg with Alicia, like you doing the most. Like everybody right now on this show is doing the absolute most. And I'm just tired. I'm stressed out, but we're going to keep riding and we're going to finish off this season of The Shy and see what happens. But that's the episode. You guys, let me know what you thought about it. Give me your thoughts on Tiff and Vic. Should that continue to play out? What do y'all think about Emmett catching feelings after Vic told him about him and Tiff? I mean, is this the reason why he didn't marry Keisha? It hasn't married Keisha yet. I don't know. Y'all let me know about Dom and Jamal if y'all even care about that storyline. But one of them want to have kids, one of them don't. This whole dinner scene with Zeke and the ex-wife and the mother and all that with the black woman, white women thing, that's a tired conversation. And it's important. It is important conversation, but okay, all right. And then of course Damien, he needs to be up out of here. I think Reg is really, really gonna have to pack up and move to Atlanta. He's gonna have to go move somewhere because everybody in Chicago gonna be on his ass after they find out what he did to Emmett. So we'll see how this all plays out, and I hope to see you guys next time we do it. In the meantime, y'all have a good one, and I'll see you then. Bye.